Hey guys, it's Melanie Hinds with your fastest Iraqi Dinar summary on the net. This thanks goes out to Sharon for giving me this lip gloss. I just put it on and I really like it. I think it looks good with all the pink, right? I hope I make you happy because we got a lot of rain and I like to dress to cheer myself up when it's like this. So guys, all these detailed articles were gone through on the live streams. Please review the timestamps. There was a lot of drama on my live this morning. I'm warning you, there was some drama, but I forgive, release, and bless. I'm over it, but it was really surprising to me. But you know what, guys? There's a lot of people, there's a lot of division going on, but I don't know. You can only keep your side of the street clean. I hope this video finds you well. Please comment down below. Please give me a positive comment. I could use it today. So here are the articles in order from my live stream. And again, read the timestamps. I did the detailed timestamps as far as, it was all about forgiveness today, which was hilarious. I'm teaching about forgiveness and then battles come live stream. It was kind of crazy. Maybe you just want to go see the drama. It's kind of entertaining. The first article was oil retreats from a 7-week high on the Kurdistan export restart. So evidently, oil prices eased in Asian trade today, retreating from a 7-week high reached in the prior session as some investors took money off the table due to uncertainty around the supply-demand outlook. It talked about the futures crude and all of that, and it says oil looks to be hitting a ceiling with softer seasonal demand and rising OPEC supplies into Q4. Recent gains feel more sentiment-driven than fundamental, so unless a new shock emerges, Brent is likely to consolidate with a slight downslide. So they were saying there were some profit-taking and morning deals, added that the return of Kurdish supplies is reigniting fears of an oversupply narrative, propelling a pullback in prices from a near 7-week high. So oil flows from Iraq, Kurdistan, were expected to restart in days. So they haven't started yet, but they're going to restart in days after 8 oil firms came to an agreement on Wednesday with Iraq's federal and Kurdish regional government to resume exports. Some concerns remain. Now they're talking about an oversupply. Wouldn't we just want to see the oil pump, right? Don't you? And we want to, I'm sure the citizens want their salaries paid. All that has been on hold because they weren't pumping oil. So now it sounds like it's going to resume in days. Keep your prayers up there. The next article, Basra crudes climb despite global oil dip. Where is this coming from? Well, it just says there was a global downturn in the oil markets. It said it slipped after global benchmark slipped after hitting a 7-week high in the previous session as investors locked in profits amid uncertainty over supply and demand. Because why? Everybody's market feeds off each other. There was a UN meeting and that caused some stuff. So then again, on the streets of Iraq, US IQD exchange rates inch higher in Baghdad and Erbil. That's to be expected. They always go up and down. The next article, Iraq's oil exports exceed $7 billion in August. That is huge, guys. $7 billion in oil exports in August. It was valued in dollars, that article. The next article was Iraq expands oil production and they start drilling in the border region. That is awesome, guys. They're expanding their oil production. We had an article yesterday where they expanded oil production. The next article was dollar prices drop in Baghdad and Erbil markets. Guys, there is a lot of great news coming out of Iraq. This is all good news. I hope you will agree. Now we go to the summary of everybody else. And again, at this point, it's everybody else. Somebody asked me a question, did they drop a zero? No, I just checked on Google. It's still 0.00076. But in Iraq, you know that they are taking their paper currency in and getting one-to-one on their banks because their banks have this new digital system, and that's why you see the Iraqi Dinar coin. That is their stable coin of choice. It's on Handle Forex, and you can trade in that if you want, if that's what you want to do. This is not financial advice. Also, there's good news about the Iraq. There's also been some talk of the dong revaluing as well. This could all go very quickly alone at the same time. But I know the good Lord only spoke to me about the Iraqi dinar specifically being done a while ago. But God always talks about things ahead of time so you can get what? Prepared. See my pinned comment down below to get prepared. Now we go to the first. I'm doing this early. This is 12:48 p.m. I want to do it early because my husband has a meeting he has to go to. So I'm going to be live later on this afternoon. I'm not sure when. Look for the link. I'll be live. We'll celebrate and we'll talk about manifesting again. Militiaman. he says, why do I bring up oil and non-oil revenues? Because back in a previous era, the real value of the currency was based off only oil. Now they've included all this new non-oil revenues. They've paid off debt. They've clawed back money. They're going to increase flow to Europe through Turkey. They have about 16 trillion worth of natural resources that includes phosphate, silica, gold, all these different things. Think about that when you think about the real effective exchange rate, what it might revalue at. I thought that was pretty worth mentioning. Frank 26 says, Firefly, they're talking about lifting off the 3 zeros. Frank said, yeah, because that's how you're going to get purchasing power. That's the goal of the monetary reform. Remember, it's not off the currency. It's off the exchange rate. Remember how I started this by saying on Google, if you look at the IQD to USD, it's 0.0076. That's where they're talking about removing the 3 zeros. It has nothing to do with the currency. The currency will be re-enumerated or not if they go all digital. They're eliminating cash as of July of next year. Okay, that's what they're saying. So now we go to Bruce. A lot of people don't like Bruce. I don't need to hear it. This is just the summary. This is so everybody gets it. If you see a short that's just the Bruce, that's the way my software program clipped it up. So quit complaining. I mean, who else is doing this much intel? So Bruce says, I believe it's going to be traded even higher, and they may just literally install the rate that they want to be on. Oh, wait, it's 2 pieces. He said, we heard that Vietnam, remember I mentioned Vietnam. We had heard that Vietnam had RV'd their Vietnam dong on Monday. We know that the dinar is already revalued, even though it's not showing up on the front page of Forex, yet it's on the back page of Forex. Remember, I have the article where my sources are telling me it's $4.81.01 on the back page of Forex. But Bruce is saying it may take a little while before it makes its way to the front screen on Forex. The dinar has been on the back screens, and so it's obviously been traded because it's at a new value, a very good value. Then he says, I believe it's going to be traded even higher. He's talking about the Vietnam dong now. So this is a dinar and dong. He said, I believe it's going to be traded even higher, and they may just literally install the rate that they want to be on the Forex, and therefore the banks will take that rate and show up on their screens, and redemption center rates will get their version of the dinar, their version of the Vietnam dong. The timing we had was from a very good source that we should be able to start setting our appointments by or before the end of this month. These are major players getting this information. He's got major contacts. That's why I always include him. Guys, and if you're not looking at everybody, you're not getting the full picture. Everybody's got a piece to play. Everybody's got skin in the game. So we all want this to happen. And so we should just all be getting along at this point. And we should just appreciate that I'm doing the summaries. The next one is Frank 26. Remember I said, unfortunately, for 4 years, we had Biden in the White House and he was just not mentally capable of being our president. We may ask the question, why didn't we have the new exchange rate in those 4 years? It's because who was sitting in the White House. We need the reinstatement. Iraq needs a reinstatement. But what we needed was a president. That's Frank's opinion. I agree with him. I'm just saying, how do you feel? Comment down below. I like to hear from you, unless you're complaining, right? Claire says, article quote, the Federation of Chambers of Commerce announced on Tuesday that Iraqi-Australian talks are underway to support Iraq's efforts to join the World Trade Organization. These relations will contribute to supporting Iraq's efforts to join the WTO. We have no idea what's going to happen first. I mean, if it's already loaded on the back screens of Forex, like I've been reporting at $4.81.01, then who knows? Militia man, the exchange regulation. There's a lot of process involved in making sure there's no ghost employees, there's no corruption, there's not fraud, all of that stuff. We're at the stage where I believe completing all those procedures, they're gearing up for an event. Now, according to our intel sources, and we are praying for our healing of one of our heroes over there. We just found out this morning in the live stream he was injured. He's healing. So please agree with me in prayers by commenting amen down below that he's completely healed and restored to full working capabilities. We already know that, what was I going to say? I lost track. Thinking about our heroes over there. Thinking about one of them being injured is a terrible thing. So I hope everybody will agree in prayer and say amen. Just like we're praying for the grieving widow, and we're praying for everything, guys. There's so much craziness going on. If you agree, comment down below. I just love everybody. I wish everybody got along. I wish there was world peace. I just am done with all of the craziness. So anyways, we know the Iraqi dinar, the systems are already done. According to my intel on the ground, they were waiting on the other banks to get up to speed. Iraq has been ready for a while. We've just been waiting. And that's also, my other military source said the same thing back in January 15th of 2025. So this literally could happen anytime. Walking stick. Capitalization is what Iraq is seeking. It's going down against the dollar. This is the goal. That is the goal in order to add purchasing power to the Iraqi dinar. Remember, when the time comes for a new exchange rate, it's a simple flip of the switch because it's now digital. Exactly. That the digital systems are in place. Now we've got Pimpy. He goes, I'm crossing my fingers for it to happen the way we all hope it happens. And they leave the zeros on there, meaning he's talking about leaving the zeros on the paper currency, which is actually going away. It's coming off the exchange rate, but he still thinks it might come off the currency. And he goes, so that we can come away with a good payday. Either way, I make money if they delete the zeros or don't. I'm in the same boat as you guys trying to get the same destination. I know, Pimpy, we're all in the same boat. I appreciate you. I appreciate you as much as everybody else. Frank 26, again, question. Once the 3 zeros are dropped, will their currency be at 114? It would be $1, but they're just looking at the opposite way I look at it. I look at it as what is the IQD per USD, which is 0.00076. So it's easy to say it's 0.76 or 76 cents. They're looking at the opposite way, right? He said it would be $1, but they talk it out. It's just a float, a little over $1, because they're not going to be pegged to the American. I don't really agree with that, but that's a little confusing to me. Is it confusing to you? It just seems a little confusing. Anyways, Claire, her article says the Federal Council of Ministers votes on the tripartite agreement with the Kurdistan and oil companies, improves the disbursement of salaries. The Iraqi Council of Ministers, headed by Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, held a meeting on Tuesday and voted by a majority of those present to ratify the tripartite agreement between the Kurdistan region, the federal government, and the region's oil contraction companies. A Kurdistan 24 correspondent in Baghdad reported. Mark Z, Kurdistan's natural resources. We have fulfilled our oil commitments, are awaiting Baghdad's signatures. They need that final signature so they can start exporting oil. He goes, I believe they have now signed off, and most of the HCL has been signed off. They were told shortly after the HCL was passed, we would go. Again, that's the whole shipping of the oil we talked about in the article. They're saying in the coming days. So let's just pray it's done. Sandy Ingram, we know they overprinted the new currency you're holding right now. If you're holding the currency with Saddam's face on it, it still may be worth a little, but only as a collector's item. The currency they are using in country in Iraq today, we're all hoping the currency will adjust to a higher rate. Many others are saying it will be $1, $2, $3 to 1 dinar. We have continually said it probably will be 10, 20, 25, maybe 50 cents. But that doesn't mean that once it kicks off that it won't rise higher because of global investors. That's Sandy's opinion. What do you think? Militiaman, interconnectivity. I believe it's going to be digitally done, and I think it's going to be done with new technologies. I also think it's going to be done with a new exchange rate, fundamentally supported by a real effective exchange rate that based off real fundamentals of the country. I'm glad everybody's coming to the digital side, because we've been reporting on that since June 8th, only because of our military resources. You have no idea how thankful I am, and I try to say that every day, that I'm thankful that they would even have reached out to me to give me intel. So I'm very honored and grateful, as always, and if anything changes, I wish somebody would communicate with me personally instead of talking amongst themselves. That's what I have to say. God bless everybody. I'll see you later. Bye.